My name is Emma Charlotte Davis, and I'm 29 years old. Last month, I made a decision that shattered my family, but saved my sanity. I secretly sold the beach house my late grandfather left me, the same house my parents were planning to sell to fund my younger sister Madison's latest business venture. Before I tell you how this unfolded, let me take you back to where it all began. The beach house sits on a cliff overlooking the Pacific Ocean, about 2 hours north of our hometown. My grandfather purchased it in 1965, back when coastal property was still affordable for a middle-class teacher like him. It's a weathered cedar-shake cottage with 3 bedrooms, wide windows facing the ocean, and a wraparound deck perfect for watching storms roll in. The property includes a private path down to a secluded beach where tide pools reveal their secrets at low tide. When Grandpa Henry passed away 2 years ago, everyone expected him to leave the house to my parents. Instead, his will explicitly named me as the sole inheritor. The reading was awkward, with my parents exchanging glances while the lawyer explained that the property, valued then at around $800,000, was mine alone. Henry always had a soft spot for Emma, my mother said afterward, her smile tight. Of course, we'll help you manage such a big responsibility. But I didn't need their help. Over the past 2 years, I'd invested heavily in the property. I replaced the aging deck with sustainable composite materials, updated the electrical system, and restored the original hardwood floors that had been hidden under decades of linoleum. Every improvement was made with love and careful consideration of my grandfather's memory. Grandpa Henry was the one adult in my family who truly saw me. While my parents devoted themselves to managing Madison's endless crises and celebrating her fleeting successes, Grandpa took me fishing, taught me to identify constellations, and listened to my dreams of becoming a marine biologist. In his study overlooking the ocean, surrounded by books on marine ecology and astronomy, he encouraged my curiosity about the natural world. "The ocean doesn't lie, Emmy," he would say as we watched waves crash against the rocks below. "It's honest about its power, its beauty, and its dangers. There's wisdom in that honesty." His words shaped my approach to life, direct, authentic, and unafraid of difficult truths. Madison, 3 years younger than me, had always been the family's golden child. Where I was serious and academically focused, she was spontaneous and charismatic. She dropped out of college after 2 years to pursue modeling, then pivoted to becoming a lifestyle blogger, then a wellness coach, then a social media consultant. Each career change was supported enthusiastically by our parents, who saw her ventures as creative exploration rather than instability. Meanwhile, I completed my marine biology degree with highest honors, earned my master's degree while working full-time, and secured a research position with the National Marine Fisheries Service. My achievements were acknowledged with polite congratulations, while Madison's smallest successes, gaining 1,000 Instagram followers, booking a minor modeling gig, were celebrated with champagne and family dinners. The favoritism wasn't subtle. When Madison's modeling career failed to launch, our parents paid for professional headshots, acting classes, and a move to Los Angeles. When her wellness coaching business generated no clients, they funded her certification in multiple wellness modalities. When her social media consulting venture folded after 3 months, they helped her transition to her next passion project without question. In contrast, when I needed a reliable car for fieldwork, I saved for months to afford a used SUV. When I wanted to attend a marine research conference in Hawaii, I took vacation days and covered all expenses myself. I learned early that requesting help resulted in lectures about fiscal responsibility, lessons that never seemed to apply to my sister. 6 months ago, Madison announced her latest venture, a luxury wellness retreat center. She had found the perfect property, a historic inn in the mountains that needed extensive renovation. The asking price was $1.2 million, far beyond anything our parents could provide. That's when their conversations about my beach house began. It started subtly. Casual mentions of the real estate market, questions about whether I really needed such a large property, suggestions that I might be happier with something smaller and closer to the city. My father, a retired accountant, began forwarding articles about coastal property values and market trends. My mother started asking if I'd considered selling while prices were high. I deflected these conversations, but their persistence troubled me. The beach house wasn't just real estate. It was my sanctuary, my connection to my grandfather, and my investment in the future. I had planned to use it as a research base and eventually retire there. The ambush came during what I thought would be a routine family dinner. Madison had driven up from Los Angeles for the weekend, supposedly to visit, but actually to present their coordinated campaign. As we finished dessert, my father cleared his throat in the way that always preceded important announcements. "We need to discuss the beach house," he began, his tone suggesting the matter was already decided. "Madison has found an incredible opportunity, and we think it's time to make some family-wide financial decisions." Madison leaned forward eagerly. "I've found the most amazing property for my wellness retreat. It's a historic inn with 20 rooms, gorgeous mountain views, and incredible potential. The owner is motivated to sell quickly." "That sounds expensive," I said carefully. "It is," my mother admitted. "But that's where the beach house comes in. The market value has increased dramatically since Grandpa left it to you. We could sell it for well over $1 million. My heart stopped. "You want to sell my house?" "Not we," my father corrected.
"You."
"But for Madison's future. This retreat center could be the business that finally establishes her career." Madison's eyes sparkled with enthusiasm. "Emma, this is my calling. I can feel it. The inn is in this magical mountain town, and I have such a clear vision for transforming it into a healing sanctuary. Yoga studios, meditation gardens, organic farm-to-table dining. People would come from all over the country." "What about the beach house?" I asked, my voice barely steady. "Well, you hardly use it," my mother said dismissively. "Maybe once a month? It's really too much property for one person, and the maintenance costs must be substantial." "Madison needs this opportunity," my father added. "You're already established in your career. You have savings, job security. Your sister is still finding her path." The familiar script played out exactly as it had throughout our childhood. Madison's needs superseded mine. My achievements made me responsible for enabling her dreams. My stability obligated me to sacrifice for her instability. "I need to think about this," I said, standing abruptly. "What's to think about?" Madison asked, genuine confusion in her voice. "It's the perfect solution. I get my dream business. You get to help your sister succeed. Win-win." The casualness with which she dismissed my attachment to the property, the assumption that I would naturally prioritize her dreams over mine, crystallized everything wrong with our family dynamic. "The house means something to me," I said quietly. "Of course it does," my mother soothed. "But Grandpa would want you to help family. He was always so generous." That night, I sat on the deck of the beach house, listening to waves crash against the rocks below. The irony wasn't lost on me. My family wanted to sell the place that provided me peace to fund another of Madison's ventures that would likely fail within a year. I made my decision that night. If they wanted to sell the house, I would sell it on my terms for my future. The next morning, I called Rebecca Torres, a realtor I'd met at a marine conservation fundraiser. She specialized in luxury coastal properties and had an excellent reputation for discretion. "I'd love to help you," she said after I explained my situation. "The market for oceanfront properties is incredibly strong right now. Based on your description and recent sales in the area, we could list at $1.3 million and expect multiple offers." The figure stunned me. It was significantly more than my parents had estimated, enough to transform my entire future. Over the following weeks, I prepared the house for sale while maintaining the illusion that nothing had changed. I removed personal items gradually, replacing them with generic decorations. I scheduled showings during times my family wouldn't visit. I had all documentation sent to my work address. The buyers Rebecca found were perfect, Dr. James and Dr. Sarah Chin, both marine biologists like me, who fell in love with the house's research potential. They offered $1.45 million with a quick closing, understanding my need for discretion. "We plan to use it as a base for our research," Dr. Sarah explained during our second meeting. "Your grandfather would approve, I think, continuing the scientific legacy of the property." 3 weeks after listing, I signed the sale agreement. In 45 days, the house would belong to the Chens, and I would have financial freedom I'd never imagined. The secrecy was exhausting. I told only my best friend Chloe and my boyfriend David about the sale. Both supported my decision, though David worried about the family fallout. "They're going to be furious," he warned as we walked along the beach one evening. "Are you prepared for that?" "I'm prepared for them to finally understand that I have agency over my own life," I replied. "I'm tired of being treated like my needs don't matter." Meanwhile, my parents continued their campaign. My mother sent me links to business plans Madison had drafted for the retreat center. My father forwarded real estate listings for smaller properties I could buy after selling the beach house. Madison called daily with updates about loan applications and investor meetings, all contingent on the beach house sale. "The seller is getting impatient," she told me during one call. "He's had other offers, but he likes my vision. We need to move quickly, though." The closing took place on a rainy Tuesday morning. Sitting in the attorney's office, signing document after document, I felt equal parts grief and relief. Dr. Chen shook my hand warmly afterward. "Thank you for trusting us with your grandfather's house," she said. "We'll honor its history while creating our own." The revelation came 2 days later when Madison drove to the beach house for what she assumed would be a celebration of our family's generosity. Instead, she found the Chens moving in their research equipment. My phone exploded with calls and messages. Madison's voice was hysterical. "Emma, there are strangers at the house. They say they bought it. This has to be a mistake." When I confirmed what she had discovered, the silence was devastating. "How could you do this?" she finally whispered. "You've destroyed everything." That evening, my entire family arrived at my apartment for a confrontation that had been building for years. Madison's tears, my mother's disappointment, my father's rage, all directed at me for finally prioritizing my own needs. "That money should be going to Madison's business," my father declared. "That was the whole point of selling the house." "No," I said firmly. "The point of inheriting the house was that Grandpa wanted me to have it. What I do with it is my choice alone." "Family helps family," my mother insisted. "We raised you to be generous." "You raised me to be invisible," I countered. "To sacrifice for Madison while asking for nothing in return. But I'm done with that dynamic." Madison's anger was the most painful to witness. "I needed this, Emma. This was my one real chance to build something lasting. How am I supposed to pursue my dreams now?" "The same way most people do," I replied. "By working for them. By saving money. By taking actual responsibility for your choices." The argument raged for hours. Accusations of selfishness, threats of being cut off from the family, guilt trips about destroying Madison's future. Through it all, I remained calm, fortified by months of therapy and the knowledge that I had acted within my rights. When they finally left, my mother turned back at the door. "I hope you're satisfied with yourself," she said coldly. "You've chosen money over family." "I've chosen myself over being taken advantage of," I corrected. "There's a difference." The aftermath was brutal. Madison's social media posts painted me as a cruel sister who had stolen her dreams. Extended family members called with questions and accusations. Former friends unfriended me on Facebook. For weeks, I questioned whether I had made the right choice. But gradually, something unexpected happened. The space left by my family's conditional love began to fill with healthier relationships. My friendship with Chloe deepened as she witnessed my struggle and growth. My relationship with David evolved as he saw me stand up for myself in ways I never had before. Colleagues at work noticed my increased confidence and began involving me in bigger projects. Most surprisingly, the sale proceeds allowed me to pursue opportunities I'd only dreamed about. I used a portion to fund my own marine research initiative, studying coral reef restoration techniques. The financial security gave me courage to take professional risks, to speak up in meetings, to propose innovative research projects. 6 months later, Madison surprised me by reaching out. She had taken a full-time position at a marketing firm and was slowly paying our parents back for previous loans. Her retreat center dream was on hold, but she seemed more grounded than I'd seen her in years. "I hated you for months," she admitted during our first real conversation in years. But my therapist helped me see that your decision forced me to grow up. I've never actually built anything through my own effort before. My parents' reconciliation was slower and more complex. My father struggled to accept that his authority over my decisions had ended when I became an adult. My mother gradually acknowledged the inequity in how she'd treated her daughters. These conversations were painful but necessary, laying groundwork for healthier relationships. A year later, I used part of the proceeds to buy a smaller coastal cottage closer to my research station. It's not the same as Grandpa's house, but it's mine in a way that feels authentic and earned. Madison visited last month, admiring the vegetable garden I'd planted and the home office where I write research papers overlooking the sea. "I'm proud of you," she said as we watched sunset from my deck. "Not just for standing up to us, but for creating something beautiful from a difficult situation." Standing there with my sister, I realized that losing the beach house had gained me something more valuable, a family that finally saw me as an equal, relationships built on respect rather than obligation, and the unshakable knowledge that I could trust my own judgment even when everyone else disagreed. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is honor your own worth. The boundaries we set aren't walls to keep others out, but foundations for building healthier connections. In choosing myself, I didn't lose my family. I created the possibility for real love, the kind that doesn't require you to disappear to make others comfortable. The beach house is gone, but what it taught me remains. Family isn't about owing each other everything, but about respecting each other enough to grow individually while choosing to stay connected. That lesson, more than any inheritance, was my grandfather's greatest gift.